Hello, PEI. Welcome to the deep dive that keeps you in the know about the things Islanders care most about. And a big thank you to Mike Montague of RE/MAX Charlottetown for the research on today's subject matter. So, if you've been anywhere near the housing market on PEI lately, maybe looking yourself or you know someone who is, well, you know it's tough. It's more than just tight, isn't it? For a lot of people, it's a real struggle.
Yeah, it really is.
But what if there was some concrete good news, like a new development in Stratford that might actually be a pretty significant piece of the puzzle? Something bringing relief for, say, 60 families and maybe even showing a new way forward for community planning here.
Well, that's exactly what we're going to get into today. Our mission here is to look past the headlines, really unpack the details of this announcement that just happened.
Correct.
We need to understand the federal program behind it and maybe most importantly, what this project really means for the housing situation here on the island. Because yes, it's good news, definitely, but we also have to see it in the context of, well, the ongoing demand we're all seeing.
Absolutely. We'll look at precisely where these new homes are planned, why that specific spot is important, and how a big national program is actually making a difference right here, tangibly. This is more than just 60 apartments. It's about what they signal for our communities. Okay, let's dive in. So let's start with the news itself. Just yesterday, August 19th, 2025, the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, CMHC, as we usually call it, made a pretty major announcement.
Right.
They're putting over $20 million into building 60 new housing units right here in Stratford. That's not insignificant. It's a real injection of supply.
That's a serious investment, yeah. And what's really interesting is how it's happening. This isn't just like a handout. It's coming through a federal program called the Apartment Construction Loan Program, ACLP for short.
Okay, ACLP.
And this program, its whole purpose is to boost the supply of affordable and sustainable rental housing across Canada. So what you're seeing in Stratford is basically this national program kicking into gear locally, trying to bring down costs by, building more places to live. It's quite targeted.
And who showed up for the announcement? That tells you something too, doesn't it? We had the Honorable Gregor Robertson, he's the Minister of Housing and Infrastructure, and Kent MacDonald, our own MP for Cardigan, was there too.
Yeah, their presence definitely signals federal backing.
It underlines that commitment, I think, to this project and maybe housing here more generally.
And listening to what they said, the focus was really on collaboration and actual results. Minister Robertson talked about the federal government wanting to drive supply, lower costs. And he specifically mentioned, I think his words were, the power of government and the private sector working together to build Canada strong.
Right, that collaboration piece.
It shows they understand it's not something government can just fix alone.
Yeah.
It needs everyone involved.
And MP MacDonald brought it right back home, didn't he? Talking about how it'll make a real difference for people in Stratford and moving closer to that goal where everyone has a safe, affordable place to call home.
Which is the ultimate goal, of course.
Powerful words. But you always wonder, how does that connect to the builders, the people actually putting up the walls?
That's a great point. And we actually got some insight there from the developer, Stephen Jackson. He's the president of JCJ Properties, the company doing the building. He mentioned that this ACLP program really helps. It eases the barriers developers face, especially when trying to build affordable housing.
What kind of barriers? Financial, presumably.
Yeah, mostly. And he tied it directly to the current situation, saying it's needed amid rising demand from population and economic growth. But that underlying pressure, the demand, it's still very much there.
Right. So it's a positive step, a needed step, but maybe not the whole solution just yet because the demand keeps growing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It highlights the scale of the challenge we're still facing on PEI.
Okay, so Stephen Jackson mentioned easing barriers, but location is key too, right? It's not just about if you build, but where. And this project, 13 Irving Avenue in Stratford, that spot seems deliberately chosen.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just a random lot. The source material really emphasizes the strategic thinking here. It's right near Stratford's 2 elementary schools, plus the new junior high and the senior high.
Wow, okay. For families, that's huge.
Huge. Imagine kids just walking to school. Easy, safe. It's more than just walls and a roof. It's about how people actually live.
And it's not just schools, is it? The location offers more.
Definitely. It's walking distance to so many everyday things. You've got grocery stores, pharmacies, hardware stores, restaurants, coffee shops, even essential health services, physio, dentists, family doctors.
So you could genuinely live there and walk to most things you need day to day.
Pretty much. And that's the idea. Placing good, affordable housing near schools and services like this, it's designed to meet community needs for, well, for decades. Less driving, less traffic, more community interaction. It's a really positive model for development.
Okay, so the Stratford project itself, the location, it all makes sense, very positive. But the engine driving this ACLP, that seems like the really big story here, the national picture. Let's unpack that a bit more. What exactly is the apartment construction loan program?
Right, the ACLP, well, first off, it's big. We're talking a $55 billion program now. That's billion with a B, its goal. To help build over 131,000 new rental homes across Canada by, I think, 2031, 2032.
131,000 units. That's massive scale. How does it work? Is it grants?
No, and that's key. It provides low-cost, fully repayable loans. Think about a developer wanting to build rentals. Usually construction ones have pretty high interest rates, right?
Yeah, that can be a major hurdle.
Exactly. So the ACLP offers loans at lower rates. The government acts like a more stable, cheaper lender. This makes it less risky and more financially viable for builders to actually construct rental units, especially ones aimed at, say, middle-income earners. And because the loans get paid back, the idea is it has a big impact without being a huge long-term cost to taxpayers.
Okay, so it's using finance as a lever. Smart. And it's not just a standalone thing. You mentioned it's part of a bigger strategy.
That's right. It sits within the National Housing Strategy, the NHS. That's the government's overall plan. The ACLP works alongside other NHS programs, some of which do focus more on deeply affordable housing for lower-income folks. So the ACLP targets that middle rental supply, while other programs handle different parts of the need. It's meant to be comprehensive.
And it's evolving, too. I heard there were changes in Budget 2024.
Yes, good point. They've adapted it. First, they extended the timeline out to 2031, 2032. Gives developers more certainty. And, significantly, they broadened who can apply. Now it includes funding for student housing on and off campus and also independent seniors housing.
Oh, that's really important. Students and seniors often face big housing challenges.
Absolutely. And another interesting tweak, they removed the really strict minimum requirements for things like energy efficiency and accessibility that applied to every project before. Now, it seems applicants get more benefit from making stronger commitments in those areas, but it's not a hard minimum bar for everyone.
Why the change there?
Seems like a pragmatic shift. Maybe recognizing that the absolute top priority right now is just getting more units built fast, while still encouraging the good stuff like efficiency and accessibility, maybe not letting perfection be the enemy of the good.
Sure.
A project like Stratford often happens because CMHC has helped identify the need and provided a tool like the ACLP to meet it.
Right. But, as we heard from Stephen Jackson, the developer, that demand issue is still looming large. Rising demand from population and economic growth here on PEI. So, while 60 units in Stratford is fantastic, truly, it feels important to keep perspective.
Absolutely crucial.
Our population growth has been really significant. And housing construction, well, it hasn't kept pace for a while now. So these 60 units are like a welcome drink of water, but we know the reservoir is still low, right?
That's a good analogy. It underscores that the challenge is ongoing and requires sustained effort. It goes back to what Minister Robertson and Stephen Jackson both touched on, collaboration. Government action like the ACLP is vital, but it needs the private sector to build, and maybe the nonprofit sector too. It takes everyone pushing in the same direction.
So no single program, no single announcement is going to be the magic bullet.
Likely not. It's about consistent, strategic steps like this Stratford project multiplied across the province and the country over time. This project shows what's possible when those collaborations work, and it reminds us that we need more of it.
What's that?
Well, as we see more projects like this potentially come online, how do these localized efforts, like choosing that specific spot in Stratford, how do they help us keep the unique character of our island communities? You know, how we build what we need while also strengthening what makes PEI special. The balancing act, isn't it? Addressing a national problem with local solutions.
That is a good question. How do national programs translate locally, and what does that mean for our community specifically? Something for you to think about. What stands out to you about this connection between a big federal plan and a specific street in Stratford? Lots to consider. Thanks for diving deep with us today.